All right, welcome to Recruiting is No Joke Live. We are live from RecFest 2025. I want to give a huge shout out to the Purple Acorn Squad. We're live in the Purple Acorn tent. If you haven't been by, stop by. I also want to give a special shout out to Basic Capital for making these conversations possible. And I'm excited today. We're going to talk to two great guests at once. So we got a 2-for-1 here. I always say, let's get started with some introductions. Who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
I'm Nate Taylor. I'm the head of growth for Basic Capital. So super appreciative of you guys having us on. Basic Capital is a new type of 401k that gives everybody more investing power. So any plan participant can put $1 in, get $4 of financing, and get $5 of investing power. And it really changes the game for businesses. They see their participation rate jump up. They see that individuals actually participate more. And it actually plays a role in recruiting. And that's why we're sitting here next to Casey.
Yeah. Casey, who are you? What do you do? Who do you do it for?
I'm Casey, so I lead growth over at Service Professionals, so recruiting and marketing, and we're a residential home services company. So I bring on plumbers, electricians, HVAC professionals all across North Jersey.
Yeah. So you guys did a talk just now. It was awesome. A lot of questions around how you can use something like a 401k or like financial planning for the future actually as a recruiting tool, a retention tool. So Casey, I'd love to start with you. Obviously, you're recruiting a lot. You're recruiting tradespeople, which we all know. We just had someone else on who was doing trades recruiting. It's super tough, hard to find that talent. How big of a difference has been talking about retirement and kind of painting that vision for what you can offer? How big is that in the recruiting process, and how have you seen it implemented so you're actually bringing it up to candidates?
I'll tell you, recruiting in the trades is very different. You're dealing with folks that don't have resumes, and they're catching you in between calls in their truck. But what we found is a big challenge is once you actually get to the finish line with somebody that you like, the dollar amount on their hourly in our region, it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
So in order to stand out, you needed something else. And for us, we started looking at what other fringe benefits, what other things part of total rewards can enhance that offer. And for us, a 401k, an innovative one, actually drove a lot of really good conversations. We had a couple of our technicians, as soon as they joined in, they made sure they referred other people, told other people about it. They made us interview their kids and be like, hey, you need to think about saving for the future.
That's so cool.
It was an important conversation in a really tight-knit market.
I always say the best recruiters are happy employees, right? They're going to refer other people, especially in those markets too. It's super tough. Nate, one of the things that you talked about in the talk was these traditional 401ks, right? And I think you even asked the crowd in there, you were like, how many of you guys know about 401ks or were well versed? And no one put their hand up. I'm curious, in terms of what you're doing, how important is it to educate people on how important thinking about your retirement is and having that those customizable features? How important is that? And why don't you think enough people are talking about this, especially employers as well?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I think the reality of the situation is existing providers aren't meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And the market hasn't changed a lot in 45 years. So 401k is really important, but when somebody's recruiting, 401k is a line item and no one spends any time on it. People spend time on it if it's not there, but if it's there, it's table stakes.
Yeah, it's usually just a match, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we do a match. That's usually what I hear.
We think that's a pretty big problem. That's the main way that people build wealth. That's the main way that people can fund their retirement.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be more than just a line item, and that's what Basic Capital does. When we come here to RecFest, one of the interesting pieces of feedback we get, first question we get is, why is a 401k at RecFest?
And then they're like, well, are you not an AI tool?
Yeah,
sourcing?
100%. I can't believe we don't have AI in none of our messaging. But a really interesting conversation I had today with somebody who's in charge of talent branding for a 1,300-person company, hiring 400 people this year, is that he needs every tool in his tool belt to talk about why people should come to his company. There are competitors that do the same thing. And benefits is not something he can really dwell on for very long. And we want to change that. We want to be a recruiter's best friend by making 401k something that people really talk about.
Yeah.
And we put our money where our mouth is. Like people do participate more, people participate more deeply, and we have a really unique set of features. And so again, the recruiter might not be the ultimate decision maker within a business, but they're the canary in the coal mine, they're the squeaky wheel, and really talented ones that have a seat at the table know how to get the attention of the head of benefits, they know how to get the attention of the CHRO or CEO, and listen, this is a strategic benefit without the strategic cost. There's no incremental cost to going to basic capital. In many cases, you're saving money.
Wow.
And if you can get that added benefit and you can get a better tool to recruit people, why wouldn't you?
I love that. Better than LinkedIn Recruiter, right? It just keeps on going up. We love LinkedIn. Casey, one of the things you talked about was how when you're talking to candidates, they really get that sense that leadership at the company like actually cares about their retirement, right? And I think you shared a story of, was it your grandfather worked in the trades, worked till he was like 75, basically worked until he couldn't work anymore. How important has that been in communicating to candidates about the company culture? Like just being able to communicate, hey, our leadership team, we care so much about you actually being able to retire that we're helping you invest in your future. Like, what are those conversations like?
So I was actually, I was quoting a senior technician that we brought on, and I had asked him, like, all right, what was it? Like, what put us over the edge before he wound down his company? Like, why did you choose us? And he's like, the fact that you guys are trying to innovate on that front, or you're actually thinking about our future in the field, shows me like that's a culture signal.
Yeah.
And that was offered up by him. That wasn't the buzzword I threw in there. And that quote kind of stuck with me. Like, all right, we need to signal to technicians and to folks in the field that we care and that we're actually backing it up and substantiating it with some vehicle, some way for them to do it. And I think the trades is due for it. It's a part of, it's an industry that I think has been neglected. A lot of folks are thinking of it as an afterthought and they're not taking care of themselves. And we want to change the conversation a bit.
Yeah, 100%. Nate, I want to ask you too, real quick. One of the things that I found in recruitment is when we start talking about benefits and we start talking about these things, people they seem to shut down. So, like, what would be your advice to recruiters, HR leaders, in having these conversations, like with their team? Like, how do you get people excited about the future?
Talking about employees.
Employees, yeah.
I think money really matters and retirement really matters. I think that there are a handful of things. One, Jensen Huang at NVIDIA talks about how he's proud that he's minted more millionaires than any other company.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to have NVIDIA stock to give out. Not everybody is going to have that explosive growth. But everybody can have a 401k. And if you've got a business that really prioritizes that and you go to your team and say, I want to make sure that there's the most amount of 401k millionaires of any company, and here's what I'm doing to change that, but you're going to have to work with me. You're going to have to pay attention. You're going to have to contribute. And if you have questions and that's stopping you from contributing, we have to talk about that. And by the way, we're going to work with a company that really cares about that. What we do is we show up in person. We onboard teams. We do it department by department. We're really available. If somebody reaches out to us for support, they're a participant. It takes us 14 minutes to respond to an email. And that's huge. I mean, people can't lose faith in the system, and they can't feel like they're numbers on a big spreadsheet. And I think that that's what recruiters need to lean into. That's what the HR team needs to lean into. And it starts with picking the right partner.
Love that. Yeah, and I think, too, one of the things, too, people don't do that best work, right, when they have anxiety around the future.
Oh, yeah.
And, I've worked in environments before where people live in paycheck to paycheck, and if they're not actually feeling secure, they're not going to get the best work done. They're not going to be able to retain them. I know we're running out of time here, so I want to just kind of finish with this last question. I take it for both of you, this is your first RecFest. What's been the best part of RecFest for you, Casey, being a recruiter, being someone that's actively a practitioner?
For me, I like keeping a pulse on what's coming next. I think the challenge, particularly for me with recruiting folks in the trades, like we don't have resumes handy. We don't have a lot of the traditional avenues to recruit people into. So being able to understand what's coming tech-wise, how can I make the candidate experience easier? How can we have a more enticing offer for a candidate? So keeping a pulse on what's happening in the industry.
I love it. And Nate, for everyone else, where's the best place to connect with you? Basic Capital, where can people find out what you guys do and what you offer?
Yeah, so basiccapital.com.
Keeping it simple.
Basiccapital.com. Yeah,
That's good.
really straightforward. You can come there. You can learn more about the product. We've got videos that explain the product. You can book a call with me, with our head of employer strategy. You can read the case study from Casey's company. You can read the case study from other companies we've worked with. And we'd love to have a conversation. We know it's a long one. It's a big decision, but that's the best way to do it. Basiccapital.com.
Basiccapital.com. Well, guys, thank you so much. It was great connecting,
Phil.
great hearing the talk. And for everyone who's listening at RecFest, it's great to be here with you guys. And if you're listening to the podcast after, go to basiccapital.com, connect with Casey and Nate, and we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.